at this stage of life. I have learned that peace often comes from having less, not more. But letting go of things is not always easy, especially when every drawer, closet, and box holds a memory. If you are like me, retired, maybe living alone and you want a home that feels calmer, clearer, and easier to manage, this video is for you. I am going to share 10 simple decluttering tips that have helped me reduce stress and feel more in control. One small step at a time. 1. Start small, one drawer at a time. Decluttering sounds like a big word. And honestly, it can feel like a big task, especially when you are standing in the middle of a room that has not been touched in years. That is why my very first and most important tip is to start small. And I mean really small. One drawer, just one. You do not need to tackle the whole kitchen or clear out the garage in a single day. Instead, pick something that feels manageable. The top drawer in your nightstand, that catch-all drawer in the hallway, a single cabinet in the bathroom. When I first started decluttering, I made the mistake of trying to take on an entire room at once. I opened up every drawer, pulled everything out, and within 30 minutes, I felt overwhelmed and exhausted. That was when I realized I was doing it all wrong. I was trying to move mountains instead of moving pebbles. So I changed my approach. I chose the smallest drawer in the house, my old desk drawer. I set a timer for 15 minutes and told myself, just sort this one. And I did. I found paper clips, expired coupons, dried out pens, and a postcard from my grandson that brought a smile to my face. I tossed the trash, kept the postcard, and closed the drawer with a little more breathing room. It felt like a win. Here is the magic of starting small. It builds momentum. You finish one drawer, and you realize it was not that bad. Maybe the next day you do a second one. Maybe you skip a day and come back later. That is perfectly fine. There is no race, no scoreboard, and no one judging your pace. You are doing this for yourself. One drawer at a time means you are making real progress without exhausting yourself physically or emotionally. It also gives your mind time to adjust. You begin to see the benefits of letting go. And slowly, it becomes easier. You become more confident in your decisions. The process gets lighter. When you look at your home and feel that wave of overwhelm, remind yourself that you are not decluttering a house. You are just sorting one drawer. And that is more than enough for today. Number 2, set a timer. 15 minutes is enough. One thing I have learned in my 70s is that energy comes in smaller portions than it used to. There was a time I could clean a whole garage in an afternoon. But now, even thinking about that makes me want to take a nap. That is why setting a timer has become one of my favorite tools in the decluttering process. When I decide to declutter, I set a timer for 15 minutes, not 30, not an hour, just 15. It sounds small, and it is. That is the point. When you know there is a set stopping time, it becomes easier to begin. You are not committing to a huge project. You are just giving it 15 focused minutes of your day. Why does this work so well? Because it removes pressure. It makes the task feel doable. Most of us put off decluttering because it feels endless. But when you only give it a short, focused time, it becomes something you can handle with ease. You can even make it part of your daily routine, like stretching in the morning or having tea in the afternoon. I keep a small kitchen timer on the counter. I wind it, and I get to work. Some days I go through old papers. Some days it is a drawer or a corner of a closet. When the timer rings, I stop, even if I am in the middle of something. The rule is, do not overdo it. That is how you build a habit, not a burnout. There is also something rewarding about the timer ringing. You get a clear endpoint. You know you showed up, did your part, and now it is time to rest. Over time, 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there turn into whole rooms that are lighter, cleaner, and calmer. The timer is not just about time. It is about protecting your energy, about reminding yourself that this is a process, not a punishment. You are not trying to be perfect. You're simply trying to live with a little more space and a little less stress, so the next time you feel stuck, do not say, "I have to declutter the whole garage." Just say, "I will give it 15 minutes and then stop." You have already done more than most people do. 3. Keep only what you use or truly love. One of the hardest parts about decluttering is deciding what to let go of. At my age, everything seems to have a story. That blanket belonged to my daughter when she was little. That coffee mug came from a vacation 30 years ago. That jacket, I have not worn it in 5 years. But I remember the last time I did. These items are more than just things. They are little pieces of our lives. But here is what I have come to understand. If everything is special, then nothing stands out. When your space is filled with memories you never use, it becomes harder to appreciate the ones that really matter. That is why this tip is so important. Only keep what you use or truly love. When I go through my belongings now, I ask myself 2 simple questions. 1, have I used this in the last year? 2, does this bring me real joy or comfort? If the answer to both is no, it is time to let it go. Usefulness matters. If something helps you in your daily life, it has value. That could be a good saucepan, a comfortable chair, or a flashlight that works when the power goes out. These are things you use, not things you store and forget. But love matters too. Some things stay not because we use them, but because they warm our hearts. A quilt from a loved one, a handwritten letter, a photo album. These are worth keeping, not because they serve a function, but because they nourish your spirit. Everything else, if it is broken, outdated, unused, or causes stress, you have permission to let it go. You are not erasing the past. You are making room for peace in the present. And let me be clear, this is not about becoming a minimalist. This is about choosing what stays in your space and your life. When your home is filled with things you either use regularly or truly cherish, it becomes a sanctuary. It breathes easier. You breathe easier. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means choosing to live with more intention. And that choice, that is where real freedom begins. 4. Use the 1 in, 1 out rule. When I was younger, I never thought twice about bringing new things into the house. If I liked it, or if it was on sale, I bought it. Over the years, that thinking left me with overflowing closets, drawers that would not close, and shelves full of things I had long forgotten about. After I retired and started decluttering, I began to realize something important. The real challenge is not just clearing out what we already have. It is keeping things from piling back up again. That is where the 1 in, 1 out rule came into my life, and let me tell you, it changed everything. The idea is simple. For every new item that comes into your home, 1 existing item has to go. If I buy a new shirt, I donate or toss an old one. If I bring home a new book, I pass along one I have finished reading. It is a small habit, but it makes a big difference over time. This rule helps me stay mindful. It makes me pause and ask, do I really need this? And if I do, what can I let go of to make space? It turns every new purchase into a thoughtful decision instead of an automatic reaction. At this stage of life, I do not want clutter to slowly creep back into my space. I've worked hard to simplify. I want my home to feel calm, not crowded. And it is not just about stuff. This rule has taught me to make room for what matters most, not just physical space, but mental space too. Less time managing possessions means more time enjoying life. So the next time you buy something new, try this before you even put it away. Find 1 thing to release, 1 in, 1 out. Simple, fair, and freeing. 5. Create a maybe box. One of the hardest parts of decluttering is making decisions, especially when you are not quite ready to let something go. Maybe it is a sweater you have not worn in years, but still love the color. Maybe it is a gift from someone you care about, even if you never really used it. Or maybe it is just something that feels too soon to give away. I get it. I have stood in front of a closet with something in my hands and thought, I am not sure yet. And that is okay. That is why I created what I call the maybe box. Here is how it works. When I find something I am unsure about, something I do not use often but still hesitate to part with, I place it in a clearly labeled box. I close the box, mark the date, and store it in the garage or a closet out of sight. Then I leave it alone. 3 to 6 months later, I come back to that box. If I have not missed anything in it or even thought about what is inside, that is my sign. It is time to donate, or recycle, or toss what is in there. But if there is something I still feel strongly about, I can keep it, and this time, with more confidence in my choice. The maybe box takes the pressure off. It lets you delay a decision without losing your progress. It allows space for emotions to settle and gives you clarity over time. This method has helped me part with dozens of items I was unsure about. I let go slowly, with less guilt and more peace, and you know what, most of the time, I never needed the items I boxed up. Decluttering is not just physical, it is emotional. The maybe box is a gentle way to respect both. 6. Take photos before letting go. Letting go of physical items is never just about the objects themselves. It is about the memories tied to them. That old chair in the corner. You rocked your baby in it. The faded concert t-shirt. It reminds you of a night filled with music and laughter. A gift from a loved one who has passed that carries more weight than most things ever could. And this is where I want to share a simple but powerful practice that helped me declutter with less heartache. Taking photos before letting go. When I started decluttering sentimental items, I struggled. I would hold something in my hands, stare at it for minutes, and feel frozen. I was afraid that if I let it go, I would lose the memory too. But one day, while sorting through old holiday decorations, I had an idea. I took a photo of each one just with my phone and saved them in a folder titled Keepsakes. And just like that, I felt lighter. I was able to donate many of those things, but still hold on to the memories. A picture was enough. Now, whenever I come across an item that feels meaningful but no longer useful, I take a photo. I even write a little caption with it. This was the mug from my retirement party, or Dad's old hat that I used to borrow. These photos have become a digital scrapbook of my life. They take up no space in the house, but they fill my heart with warmth whenever I scroll through them. More importantly, they let me move forward without feeling like I am losing pieces of myself. This is not about erasing the past. It is about honoring it in a way that allows room for the present. If you find yourself holding on to something only because you do not want to forget, consider taking a picture instead. Keep the story. Keep the emotion. Let the object go. In the end, it is not the stuff that defines our lives. It is the love, the memory, and the journey we carry within us. A photo can hold all of that and still leave your home feeling peaceful and free. 7. Declutter with a friend or family member. There are some things in life that feel easier when you do them with someone else. Decluttering is one of them, especially when you are older. Living alone and surrounded by a lifetime's worth of belongings, making decisions about what to keep and what to let go of can feel overwhelming and sometimes even emotional. That is why I started inviting someone I trust to help me with the process. Sometimes it is my daughter. Sometimes it is my neighbor. Sometimes it is just a good friend who knows how to listen and be patient. Having another person there does not just mean an extra pair of hands. It means emotional support. It means sharing stories as you sort through old clothes or flipping through photos together while deciding which ones to frame and which ones to store. It turns the task into a moment of connection instead of a burden. I remember once, I was trying to go through a box of my old jackets. Every time I pulled one out, a memory would come with it. One was from a trip to Colorado. Another was the jacket I wore to my retirement party. I was having a hard time letting go, even though I had not worn most of them in years. My daughter was with me that day. She listened to the stories, smiled, and asked me which ones still fit, which ones I truly loved, and which ones I might want to donate to someone in need. Her presence made the decisions easier. I felt supported, not judged, in the end. I kept 2 and donated 4, and I felt good about it. Decluttering with someone you trust also makes the process more joyful. You laugh together, reminisce together, and sometimes cry together. But you do not go through it alone. If you feel stuck or overwhelmed, ask someone to help, not to rush you, not to take control, but to walk beside you as you make thoughtful choices about what stays and what goes. We all need help sometimes, and letting someone in is not a sign of weakness. It is a gift for both of you. Donate with purpose. Letting go of belongings becomes much easier when you know they are going somewhere meaningful. It is not just about throwing things away or putting them in bags for the trash. It is about passing on what you no longer need to someone who truly does. When I first started decluttering, I was hesitant to part with certain items, especially clothing, books, and kitchen tools I had owned for years. But once I began donating those things to shelters, local charities, and families in need, my whole mindset shifted. It stopped being about losing something. It became about giving. There is a quiet dignity in donating. You are not just clearing your space, you're extending your life's usefulness. A coat you no longer wear can warm someone during winter. A set of dishes gathering dust in your cupboard can become part of another family's dinner table. Even something as simple as a flashlight or a pair of reading glasses can make a real difference in someone else's daily life. I also like to choose places that align with my values. For example, I donate books to a senior center library, clothes to local shelters, and unused medical supplies to clinics that serve low-income patients. It makes the process more meaningful for me. I know where the items are going, and I feel good about it. There is also a kind of spiritual freedom in giving things away with love. I no longer feel weighed down by the things I own. I feel like I am a part of a larger cycle, one that honors the idea that what we no longer need can still have value to others. So, if you are struggling to part with something, ask yourself, would this bring someone else comfort, joy, or help? If the answer is yes, then maybe it is time to pass it along. Decluttering does not always have to be about letting go. Sometimes it is about lifting others up. 9. Declutter by category, not location. When I first started decluttering, I made the mistake of going room by room. I would step into the guest bedroom or the garage and try to handle everything in one go. But what I learned is that this approach can be overwhelming and scattered, especially when different types of items are stored all over the house. Then I discovered a different way, decluttering by category. Instead of tackling a room, I focus on one type of item at a time. For example, I will go through all my clothes no matter where they are: the bedroom closet, the coat rack by the door, that old box in the garage. I gather every piece of clothing in one spot, and then I decide what stays and what goes. This method works because it shows you the full picture. You cannot really know how many jackets you have until they are all in front of you. You might discover you own 10 pairs of reading glasses, or 5 can openers, or a drawer full of batteries you forgot existed. Seeing it all at once helps you make clearer, quicker decisions. I have applied this to categories like books, paperwork, tools, dishes, even keepsakes, each time? The results have been the same. It helps me make smarter choices and avoid keeping duplicates or things I no longer use. Decluttering by category also creates natural stopping points. Once you are done with clothing, you can rest the next day. You might do kitchen utensils or cleaning supplies. There is no need to rush through the whole house. This way of organizing your efforts brings structure and peace. It reduces decision fatigue because you are not jumping from one kind of item to another. It also makes the process feel more complete. When I finish a category, I feel real progress, not just in one room, but across the whole home. If going room by room feels exhausting or chaotic, try switching your focus. Pick one category, just one. Lay it all out. Take your time. You might be surprised how much simpler and more satisfying the process becomes. 10. Celebrate your progress, not perfection. When I first started decluttering, I thought I had to do it all. I thought that if I could not clear out an entire room or sort every drawer in a weekend, then I was not doing it right. And that way of thinking almost made me give up. It felt like I was always behind, always moving too slow, always comparing myself to some idea of how it should look or how fast it should go. But over time, I learned something much more important. Progress matters more than perfection. Every bag of items donated, every drawer cleaned, every box sorted, that is progress. Even if you only manage to declutter for 15 minutes, that is still progress. Even if all you do is make a list of what you want to tackle next week, that is still progress. It all counts. As we get older, it is easy to be hard on ourselves. We expect to move as fast as we used to. We get frustrated when our energy runs out halfway through a task. But the truth is, we are not in a race. This is not about impressing anyone or proving anything. It is about making your space feel better. Your space, your pace. One thing that helped me was keeping a small journal. After each decluttering session, I would write down what I did, no matter how small. Sorted the sock drawer, gave away 3 old cookbooks, threw away expired medicine. Looking back on those pages now, I feel proud not because I did it perfectly, but because I kept going. There will always be more to do. That is the nature of life and of living in a home. But if you wait until you can do it all perfectly, you may never begin. Or worse, you may burn out and stop trying. So I say this to you. Celebrate the steps you take. Acknowledge the effort you're making. Be kind to yourself. And let go of the idea that it has to look a certain way. Progress is enough. Showing up is enough. Choosing to live lighter, even in small moments, is enough. Perfection is not the goal. Peace is. And every time you make room for what matters, you are moving in the right direction. As I sit here, looking around my home, I feel something I had not felt in a long time before I started this journey. Clarity, calm, space to breathe. Decluttering is not just about getting rid of stuff. It is about making room for your life as it is now, not who you were 20 years ago, not who others expect you to be, but who you are today, right here, right now. Each item we let go of creates room for something better. Sometimes that is physical space, but more often, it is peace of mind. It is easier mornings. It is fewer decisions. It is walking through your home without tripping over boxes of the past. It is finding joy in what remains. And if you are still at the beginning of this journey, please remember you are not behind. You are not too late. You are not too old. There is no deadline for making your life feel better. Start small, stay steady, let go with grace. Keep what serves you. Release what weighs you down. The most important thing is that you honor this season of your life with the care and dignity it deserves. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope something here has helped you breathe a little easier. Smile a little more. and feel a little less alone in the process. If you found this video helpful, I would be honored if you shared it with someone else who might need it. And if you want to keep walking this path of simple, wise, peaceful living with me, I hope you will subscribe. Until next time, take good care of yourself. You are worth the space you live in, and you are worth the peace that comes with it.